An Aviation News Website Guide. Chapter 1. Aviation News Websites. Aviation News Websites. usaviation.com, Business Aviation News. aero-news.net, Aero News Network, free, subscribed daily electronic aviation news magazine. avweb.com, AvWeb, news events. Aviation magazine websites. airspace-mag.com, airways-mag.com, aviationconsumer.com, aviationhistory.com, aviationsafetimagazine.com, cessnaowner.org, challengeweb.com/air-classics.html, flightjournal.com, flyingmag.com, ifr-magazine.com, kitplanes.com, piproner.org, planeandpilotmag.com, verticalmag.com, challengeweb.com/warbids-international.html. A list of aviation news websites at feedspot.com/news/aviation. The Aviationist. theaviationist.com, Aviation Week Network, aviationweek.com, avgeekery.com, avgeekery.com, Simple Flying, simplflying.com, Australian Aviation Magazine, australianaviation.com.au, XU Aviation News, xeuaviation.com, Flight Radar 24, flightradar24.com, Experimental Aircraft Association, inspire.eaa.org, Flying Magazine, flyingmag.com, Aviation Defense Blog, defence-blog.com, Aerotime, aerotime.aero, UAS Blog, uas.aero, CH Aviation, ch-aviation.com, OAG Blog, oag.com, Universal Operational Insight Blog, universalweather.com, Plane and Pilot Magazine, planeandpilotmag.com, aviation24.be, aviation24.be, Fire Aviation, fireaviation.com, Uniting Aviation, unitingaviation.com, Rodney's Aviation Ramblings, flyinggeek.blogspot.com. A list of aviation magazines at blog.feedspot.com/aviation_magazines. africanpilot.co.za, australianaviation.com.au, avm-mag.com, flyer.co.uk, flyingmag.com, flypast.keypublishing.com, pilotweb.aero/home, propilotmag.com, skiesmag.com. A list of aviation podcasts at blog.feedspot.com/aviation_podcasts. 21fivepodcast.com/podcast. airiesinsurance.com/podcast-2. airlinepilotguide.com/podcasts. airlineweekly.com/podcast. airplanegeeks.com. allplane.tv/aviation-podcast. anchor.fm/simplflying. anchor.fm/squawkident. aopa.org/news-and-media/podcasts/podcasts/there-i-was. aopa.org/news-and-media/podcasts/pilot-briefing. asianskymedia.com/multimedia. assetinsightpodcast.com. australianaviation.com.au/tag/podcast. aviadevinsighteurope.libcn.com. aviation-xtended.co.uk/episode-list. aviationcareerspodcast.com. aviationnewstalk.com. aviationweek.com/check6. Buzzsprout.com/735875 cambridgeairforce.org.nz/1z_show.html cancelledformaintenance.com/episodes expertaviator.com flightradar24.com/blog/avtalk-podcast flightsafetydetectives.com flyinginireland.com/tag/squawk7000 from the runwayup.com/listen-to hardlandingspodcast.com inspire.eaa.org/eaas-green-dot-podcast justplainradio.com learnedhefinerpoints.com/podcast moderateturbulence.com nba.org/news/flight-plan-podcast open.spotify.com/show/7ffTEVWQR2 open.spotify.com/show/2suFYEQSIA3TDRPNGRNG opposingbases.com pilot2pilothq.com readyfortakeoff.libcn.com/podcast routesonline.com/podcasts simpleflight.net/podcast stuckmecavcast.com uncontrolledairspace.com Chapter 2 Aviation News Websites at Cali Aviation News Websites at cali.org/en/recreation/aviation/news_and_media airlinerworld.keypublishing.com Airliner World a monthly magazine covering the global airliner scene aero-news.net Aero News Network online aviation news magazine and resource that has stories, databases, aero columns, and aviation news updates. anonline.com, Aviation International News. The news magazine of corporate/business aviation. Aviation International News is considered the industry's best read and most authoritative news publication. airage.com, AirAge. Company produces publications for aviation and radio control model enthusiasts. Browse magazine profiles and subscription information. aviationconsumer.com, Aviation Consumer. The independent product test report of airplanes, aviation equipment, and gear now available online. aviationheadlines.com, the Aviation News Center. An online aviation news browsing facility. aviationtoday.com, Aviation Today. Aviation Business Intelligence. aviationweek.com, Aviation Week. Aviation, defense, and space news, jobs, and conferences. businessair.com, Business Air Today. Designed primarily for the entrepreneur whose primary objective is to buy or sell a corporate jet or turbine aircraft. classicwings.com, Classic Wings Down Under. A high-quality magazine, published bi-monthly, featuring classics and warbids from Australia and New Zealand. ddn.com, Defense Daily Network. Provides breaking defense and aerospace news with special reports, pets, and budget information. flightjournal.com, Flight Journal. Flight Journal is a relatively new monthly magazine created expressly to capture the vital spirit, the drama, the evolution of winged adventure. flighttraining.opa.org, Flight Training Magazine. Aviation's How-To, Back to Basics magazine for new pilots, their instructors and those who own and operate flight training schools. flyer.co.uk, Flyer Magazine, UK. Covers all UK recreation airsports. helicoptersmagazine.com, Helicopters. Canada's national helicopter magazine published quarterly. Site features, table of contents, cover story, editorial schedule, links, advertising, and subscription information. kitplanes.com, Kitplanes. The premier monthly periodical for people interested in the most dynamic segment of sport aviation, home-built airplanes, rotorcraft, ultralights and other special interest, Do-it-yourself flying machines. PilotGetaways.com, Pilot Getaways. A bi-monthly magazine dedicated to private pilot travel in the United States. PilotWeb.aero, Pilot, UK. Information for pilots, students and enthusiasts, including pilot contacts and aircraft. PlaneandPilotMag.com, Plane and Pilot. A site reflecting the monthly magazine, which is an information source for general aviation pilots flying piston engine aircraft. Scramble.nl, Scramble. slnews9.tripod.com/slnews.htm, flight lines. Daily publication presenting the latest aviation and aerospace news in email or faxed format. Sample available. Speednews.com, Speed News. Weekly newsletter for the commercial and defense aviation industries that provides top news stories and information. SWAviator.com, SW Aviator Magazine. SW Aviator is a flying magazine for pilots and aviation enthusiasts featuring destinations, reviews, up-to-date regional aviation events, and information about piloting in the Southwest U.S. warbird's-eaa.org/magazine, Warbird's Magazine. Wingsmagazine.com, Wings. A bi-monthly magazine providing coverage of the Canadian aviation industry. Table of contents, cover story, editorial schedule, links, advertising, and subscription information. Aeronautics history news websites at cali.org/en/science/technology/aeronautics/history/news_and_media. Aeroplanemonthly.keypublishing.com, Aeroplane. Magazine subscription information, highlights from the current issue, photo gallery. Aerosphere.com, Aerosphere Magazine, an emporium. Contains articles, artwork, and historic information about space exploration, military and general aviation events. aviation-history.com/www1aero.htm, w.w.aero. The Journal of the Early Aeroplane, featuring detailed articles and information from 1900 to 1919 era. Published quarterly. EAAvintage.org, EAA Vintage Aircraft Association. A special EAA monthly publication featuring antique and classic aircraft, as well as historical pieces consisting of the recollections of those who were active during the heyday of these aircraft. Ginterbooks.com, Ginter Books, Naval Fighter Series. Gutenberg.org/ebooks/907, Flying Machines, Construction and Operation. Complete, illustrated text of the work by W.J. Jackman, Thomas H. Russell, and Octave Chanute, published 1912. HistoricWings.com, Historic Wings. Provides in-depth photo documentaries online, feature stories about aviation, pilots, historic events, the history of flight, and of man's quest for the skies and space beyond. women-in-aviation.com/books/biographies, Women in Aviation, Biographies. A list of books on the biographies of women in aviation history. Aviation magazines at cali.org/en/recreation/news_and_media/magazines_and_e-zines. Airspacemag.com, Air and Space Magazine. The official publication of the American National Air and Space Museum, the Smithsonian. Airaffair.com, The Air Affair. An online publication and library focusing on recreational aviation. airforcemag.com/pages/homepage.aspx, Air Force Magazine. comeflywithusmagazine.com, Come Fly With Us Magazine. contactmagazine.com, Contact Magazine. Experimental Aircraft News Forum for designers and builders. 6 issues a year. GeneralAviationNews.com, General Aviation News. A nationally distributed, paid, and controlled circulation tabloid newspaper covering general aviation, published every other week. Homepages.force9.net/f4, Airscene UK. Aviation webzine of features, articles, and photographs. Come fly with yasmagazine.com %2f. LOSdata.com, LOS International. Aviation News and Review Magazine. Provides information on register listings, movements, airlines, corporate jets, visit information and museums. planeandpilotmag.com, Pilot Journal. Monthly Magazine. Subscription rates, summary of current and past issues, pictures, and advertising rates. Skylinear-aviation.de, Skyliner Aviation News and more. Bi-monthly magazine in German and English. Details of subscription, picture gallery, and back issue information.